to me mean we're dropping bombs on people and they're shooting back. And if it is a war, guess what? You didn't consult Congress first. And I have your own Vice President Joe Biden on tape making the case that you ought to be impeached. And that's where we begin this morning. All things Libya, and I've got some questions we can't get satisfactory answers to out of the White House, but I'll bet I can get some satisfactory feedback and some answers from you, and I bet you've got some strong feelings on all of this and more. The Budman here on the 50,000-watt front porch for the next 3 hours. My take, your calls on the hottest topics in talk radio, 407-916-5400 if you want to jump into the fray. Jenna and Jeff in the control room. Well, I guess we now know that Obama administration speak, has no limits to how it will contort reality and contort the English language to suit its purposes. Do you remember we didn't want to really offend the Muslim world, radical Islam, and Al-Qaeda? And so we needed to back off referring to all of this as Islamic terrorism. Don't even say terrorism. When there's a terrorist act, it is a man-caused disaster. That's the way it came down through the Homeland Security Department and Janet Napolitano, right from the man in the Oval Office, President Barack Obama. You can absolutely be sure of that. Now, what else? Now, overseas contingency operations. Isn't that what the war on terror is under Obama administration speak? Well, now, how is this? What's going on in Libya is not a war. Do you know what they're calling it? The Deputy National Security Advisor to the President of the United States, what he is calling the action in Libya? Not war. I almost can't say this without laughing or wanting to stand on my head in the corner and spit nickels. This is not a war. This is kinetic military action. Jenna, does that top it all? Tell me. What
does that even mean?
Kinetic? Well, kinetic is something in motion, military action. So I guess when you fly planes in that drop bombs, you've got the motions of the plane and you've got gravity acting on the bombs. And, of course, with these bombs, they've got their own engines and, they target right in there and Tomahawks, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, whether they're coming up from submarines or they're dropping bombs out of the airplanes. They're all smart bombs. They're unbelievable. Nobody's got a military like we do. And we really have decimated Gaddafi's capabilities to destroy the rebel cause. And that is part of what this mission is all about. But I guess that's kinetic military action. This is more of a stretch and a strain than man-caused disaster and overseas contingency operation, is it not?
I love that they're saying it's not a war because people aren't on the ground. It's like that game that you played when you were a kid where somebody tells you not to tickle them and you just put your hand around them and you're like, I'm not touching you, I'm not touching you, this isn't tickling. And it's like, this isn't a war because we're not actually on the ground.
And the president says no matter what happens, we're not going in there with ground troops. And I don't favor us going in there with ground troops. But please, Commander-in-Chief 101 is don't give the enemy the playbook. Gaddafi say, oh, all right, there it is. Howdy, Barack say, no matter what, not come in with ground troops. I wouldn't give them anything they can hang their hat on. And, but this president is such a reluctant warrior, such a reluctant commander-in-chief, and such a reluctant president to project American military power in any way, shape, or form, or in any theater. It just absolutely scares me. And it is abundantly clear that while he says no ground troops no matter what, he really has no idea how all of this is going to play out. He wants to dish off our lead role with our best-in-the-world military in a couple of days. And, NATO, you take it. Well, guess what? NATO doesn't want it. Turkey, in particular, is balking. And if they don't have unanimity on this, nothing's going to happen, and we're going to have no one to dish this back to except, well, who? Like maybe the French? It's amazing. But back to this situation on Air Force One. Deputy National Security Advisor Ben Rhodes took a crack at the answer. Is this a war or not? He says, I think what we're doing is enforcing a resolution that has a very clear set of goals, which is protecting the Libyan people, averting a humanitarian crisis, setting up a no-fly zone. Obviously, that involves kinetic military action, particularly on the front end. But he would not answer the question, is this a war? Listen, gang, I can answer that. I can name that tune. The answer to that question is absolutely yes. We're bombing people, and they are shooting back. Please, help me on this. Is this a war? And if it is a war, as I believe it to be a war, why does this administration recoil against calling it what it is? 407-916-5400. Much more to come in your calls. Welcome. Real-time traffic and weather together on the twos. Hey, you know, Color-Crete of Central Florida is the unbelievable alternative to paint. So superior to paint that they give you a 25-year guarantee when your home is color-created, your apartment building, your church. Color-Crete is great for all applications, and paint cannot compete with Color-Crete. My friend, do not sign off on a paint job with a painter, because you did that 4 or 5 years ago, without getting a handle on the great alternative to paint. I believe you're going to love Color-Crete, made here in Orlando by this family-owned business I hold in such high regard. Color-Crete of Central Florida. They've been serving us for a half a century right now. This stuff goes on like thick paint, looks like thick paint. After that, once it is on the house, all resemblance to paint ends beyond the appearance of a fresh paint job. Because unlike with paint, with Color-Crete, you're going to get a protective barrier against wind-driven rain. It'll prevent mildew, which paint cannot do, and it'll put a stop to peeling, chalking, and cracking that plagues a paint job almost immediately in our climate. And Color-Crete is so affordable. They've even reduced a great price on Color-Crete, 10% for you now, and they'll give you a free pressure cleaning of your driveway and sidewalks. You're going to get a 25-year guarantee. You'll be dealing with great people, and boy, oh boy, are you going to love Color-Crete. Don't paint Color-Crete. Get a free estimate today. 407-851-3442. 407-851-3442. More on the website, colorcreteusa.com.
Traffic on Air Online is service of the Florida Lottery. If it's treasure that you seek, the Lucky 7 raffle from the Florida Lottery is your path. Up to $700,000 awaits you, and the first 100,000 players will be handsomely rewarded with a free Florida Lotto ticket. So let the lamp lead the way to your Lucky 7 raffle ticket today. This is an urgent alert from the alarm desk. It is time to stop that disrespect. Dollarweed is dishing you in the lawn and doesn't think you're going to do anything about it. But Dollarweed has got another thing coming, thanks to Scott's Bonus S. Bonus S is created to kill lawn-invading Dollarweed, and nothing gets in its way. At the same time, Bonus S gives your lawn a deep Scott's feeding, so it will grow thick, strong, and barefootable. Don't make the mistake of getting one of those bargain brands which contain stuff like sand and sawdust, which doesn't do anything for your lawn. It only makes weeds laugh. You need Scott's Bonus S. Every granule is a combination of 100% food and Dollarweed fighting power. So that smirk on Dollarweed a fixed-rate mortgage. By refinancing to a new 15 or 20-year fixed at today's incredibly low rates, you may be able to pay off your loan faster by making fewer payments and at a much lower interest rate. At Quicken Loans, our mortgage experts are licensed in all 50 states, and they'll help you learn more about shortening your term. So give Quicken Loans a call today at 866-QUICKEN. That's 866-QUICKEN. Or go to QuickenLoans.com. A complete selection of mortgage programs designed to help you accomplish your goals. Just one more example of how everything we do at Quicken Loans is engineered to amaze. Equal housing lender. Nationwide license number 3030. 5:45 a.m. I am Jared Barwell. I'm groggy and in need of coffee. So I fill my thermos and climb into my Nissan NV work van. I'm now Jared, owner of Barwell's Midtown Couriers. At 6:49 a.m., I become Jared, the dispatcher, using the NV's built-in Bluetooth to send out jobs to all my drivers. Just after 8:30 a.m., I get a call from one of my bike couriers. He broke his chain. Now I'm Jared, the roadside assistant. Luckily, my NV's cargo area can turn into a mobile workbench, giving us enough room to fix his bike. We put the tools back on the NV's reinforced walls, and my rider is back on the street. Everyone's taken care of. And by 9:14 a.m., I deliver my first package. Finally, I'm Jared the courier. You wear more than one hat. That's why the all-new Nissan NV lineup is more than a van. Nissan Commercial Vehicles. Innovation that works. Innovation for all. Learn more at NissanCommercialVehicles.com. On August 28, 1963, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. made history with his I Have a Dream speech. Now, exactly 48 years later, he's doing it again. Chevrolet is honored to celebrate the unveiling of the Martin Luther King Jr. National Memorial, the first and only to be built in the mall, in tribute to the rider of peace and a person of color. History is made now. Be a part of it. This August 28th in Washington, D.C. Awaken his spirit in all of us. Get details at buildthedream.org. This portion of 540 WFLA is brought to you by GrandCanadaFlorida.com.
Hey, I want to see if I can get you to think anew when it comes to considering a luxury automobile. Think anew. Think of Acura. Think of Fountain Acura and get on down to this great family-owned business, family-owned Fountain Acura, and go test drive the vehicles I am raving about that I've been behind the wheel of for Fountain. Go test drive their top-of-the-line sedan, the Acura RL. It'll blow your doors off. And the top-of-the-line 7-passenger MDX from Fountain Acura. They're amazing, and right now on the new 2011 Acura RL and MDX, incredible financing rates for well-qualified buyers like you at Fountain Acura as low as 0.9%. And hey, if you're behind the wheel of an Acura now, you know how great it is. You want to upgrade your current Acura model to a similar 2011 Acura model? They're going to let you do it at Fountain with no money down and a similar monthly payment. What an opportunity that is. What cars, what a dealership. The one and only Fountain Acura, South OBT, just south of the Florida Mall. Online, fountainacura.com. We're about a week into what would normally be called a war, but there's no normal when it comes to the Obama administration. They're now referring to this. Well, it's not a war. This is kinetic military action. Is that working for you? Bill in Orlando, first on the line. Good morning, Bill.
Hey, good morning, bud. Bud, let me ask you a reasonable question. What's your opinion? Should we be doing something right now or not?
Should we be doing what now? Be specific with this. There are a lot of aspects to Libya.
I mean, but I'm asking you to give your audience the answer to what you would like to see going on over there, you personally.
I am glad we did not go in unilaterally, and I've said that since the very beginning. We can't afford to do it. Going in as part of the coalition, absolutely. But I'll have to tell you, I want people to start calling things what they are. You call our enemy by their name, radical Islamic terrorists, and you don't hedge on it. A war is a war. We are part of a war. Don't give me this Obama speak, kinetic military action. It insults what remains of my intelligence, Bill, and it ought to insult yours, too.
Buddy, you know what insults my intelligence?
What's that?
Gingrich gets on, the air last couple weeks and talks about how, we shouldn't be over there. but then now we should be over there. So, just...
Well, I'm not a big Gingrich guy, if you know that, if you've listened to me, and I caught the flip-flop on Gingrich. He doesn't come off well in that regard, and I would most certainly not circle the wagons on his behalf in that regard. Where are you on the situation in Libya, Bill?
Well, I'll clearly explain that, but let me explain to you with the situation where I see it from.
Hang on 1 second. I'll let you do that. I got to stay on the clock, Bill. You're 60 seconds away from being able to air it out. Right now it's 6:22, real-time traffic and weather together on the twos. Partly sunny and warm today, up to 88, 61 here in Orlando now. Let's go back to Bill. You still with me, buddy?
I'm right here.
Go right ahead.
Bud, I would say I used to be totally where you're at, and you probably doubt I was a conservative. I'm very conservative on a lot of issues.
Yeah.
But, I kind of feel like, really anything that Obama does, if I'm honest with myself, is criticized. I mean, if he does something, he's criticized. If he doesn't do it, he's criticized. And I really, that's why I'm asking you to be, practical about this. If you want us to be over there for a certain reason, whether it's...
Oh, I'm fine with us being over there as part of the coalition. I've never suggested otherwise, but for crying out loud, call it what it is. It's a war.
You're getting into the semantics, and let me explain to you why he's not calling it a war.
I'm getting into clear communication. It's what I do for a living.
Well, would you let me talk? I mean, you're wanting him to be impeached or for...
Oh, no. I did not say I wanted him impeached. Did you listen to my headline or not?
Well, the propaganda is, they're going to talk about having him impeached for not consulting with Congress.
I have Joe Biden on tape making the case for exactly that, Bill. You need to stay with me and you will hear it. But you did not hear me say this president ought to be impeached over this.
That's exactly the point of why I'm saying he's not calling it a war, because he knows the conservative right is going to use anything that they can use against him to get him out of office.
Are you kidding? He's getting hammered worse from the left. He's wimping out because he's getting it from his base on the left. The linguini-spined anti-war crowd on the left wants his head right now. That's why he won't call it a war. It has nothing to do with the right.
You want my solution?
Go for it, Bill. I want answers because I can't get them out of Washington.
Okay, number one, we're not over there for, the whole gas situation, because we know Wall Street, okay, is the opportunity in getting ahead and gouging prices right now. So let's get that out of the way. As a humanitarian country, as we are, as we should be, if we don't go over there, okay, it's going to be said that Obama didn't help the people over there when they were being, they're being annihilated.
I never said we shouldn't go, Bill. You and I are on the same page. We're playing a little ring around a rosy here. You are trying to cast me in a manner that is inappropriate and inaccurate.
But, we're sitting here talking about should we be over there? Yeah, we should be over there now. Once we're over there, once we take care of a little bit of business up in the air, not on the ground, then you know what? Hey, let's pass it off, as you say, to the French or whoever.
Well, but now, Bill, let me ask you something here. Here's a really serious problem. The president says we're going to back off the gas on this thing. Everybody else is going to come forward. We'll dish it off to NATO. NATO doesn't want it. Nobody seems to want it. As they're writing in the German newspapers, and the Germans have completely pulled out of this thing, this is the coalition of the unwilling. And it absolutely is. What happens if we have no one to dish it off to? No one else who can carry the day and get this thing done and make sure of all that has been done in the last week against Gaddafi doesn't simply vaporize and collapse. What happens if there is no one to dish it off to? Then what?
If we go over there and it fails, we've gone over there. And that means it's better to have gone over there, risked the chance, versus not going over there. Ooh, and could you imagine if Obama didn't go over there? Could you imagine, the Republicans talking about how linguini-spined he was, why he wouldn't go over there and intervene? So, again, let him go. Let's go over there, do what we need to do. If it doesn't work out, we come home.
All right, Bill. I just thank you very much. I appreciate that. He's a smart guy. But I think he's one of these guys who just got out of the wrong side of the bed this morning, just itching for a fight. Jenny, you know that. You come in here and I can see fire in your eyes some morning, and I know you're itching for a fight. I just can tell when you're itching for a fight.
Who, me?
I think that's exactly where Bill's going. But I never said off the top that Barack Obama ought to be impeached over this. I said that I have Joe Biden on tape making the case that in this situation, President Obama ought to be impeached. And we're going to be getting into that in our next half hour here. And as for whether we should be over there, correct me if I'm wrong on this. Have I said since the very beginning of this action in Libya, we should not go alone? It's time for the rest of the world to step up, for us to be a part of that. I've said that right from the beginning. I believe I've been rock solid consistent on that. Maybe Bill missed a show or something. But my biggest problem is the Obama speak applied to this military action. For crying out loud, we are bombing people, and those people are shooting back. That is a war. That is not kinetic military action. Give me a break. That's where I am on this. Am I clear?
You're very clear.
All right.
He was clearly a bad listener.
No, he's a great caller, though.
Great caller, but just doesn't understand you. Just does not understand you.
Joe Biden. How would it be if Joe Biden presided over an impeachment trial as president of the Senate, which he would be as vice president, the impeachment of Barack Obama for not consulting Congress before initiating an attack on another country, which is exactly what's happened. Believe it or not, I've got Joe Biden on tape making the case for the impeachment of Barack Obama. The only trouble is, he didn't know it at the time. You don't want to miss this. Coming up right after the news and the Wall Street Journal report on Bud Hettinger Live. Good Thursday morning. It's 6:28.
Coming up.
Good. How are you? That's awesome. Hey, is that guy who does Wall Street Journal in the morning as much of a cheese ball off the air as he is on the air? I like him. He's funny. The guy who hosts in the morning. Yeah. He sounds like he'd be fun to hang out with. That's the best kind, though. Oh, yeah. Oh. Oh, man. All right. We'll be ready in about 30 seconds.
Of Allstate, where safe drivers can save 45% or more. Are you a safe driver? Get Allstate today. Call a local Allstate agent at 888-ALLSTATE or visit allstate.com. Dollar for dollar, no one protects you like Allstate.
This portion of 540 WFLA is brought to you by GrandCareOfFlorida.com.
From 540 WFLA, Orlando's 24-hour weather channel, we're off to a great start this morning. We'll see plenty of sunshine. It's going to be breezy and hot. We could actually be close to a record. The high today in the upper 80s, sunny 86 on Friday. Weather updated around the clock on 540 WFLA. I'm David Maddox at the Weather Channel.
If we're going to spend the time putting together phone solicits,
The least you could do is call.
407-916-5400. Toll free, 866-916-5400.
Good Thursday morning, time for our daily Wall Street Journal report with the Journal's Mike Salvatorelli. Good morning to you, Mike. How are you? Good. You know, the Wall Street Journal covers finance like nobody else, and boy, you guys can lay the stats out there like no one else. But the one stat most of us care about as we look toward the end of this economic collapse and this great deep recession, the one we care about most is money in our pockets, personal income, and the Journal is reporting on that part of the recovery.
Yes, it seems our paychecks might improve last year as we climbed out of the recession. However, where you live would play a big role in how much you earn, a reflection of the economy's uneven recovery. For example, the housing downturn in Nevada resulted in only a 30% income gain for its residents. That seems a little bit.
Who's doing the best?
Well, nearby New Mexico,
Ah.
believe it or not, showed the strongest performance of 4.5%. Now, Florida.
I was going to say, I think that I'm living in the wrong state. I'm not ready to move to New Mexico, but it isn't all that great here right now, I got to tell you.
Because, you guys are suffering from a severe housing downturn.
Right.
So you saw minor income improvements because of it.
Interesting. And here is further proof from the Journal this morning that this is, in fact, a completely intertwined global economy. All you have to do is look at the impact of the disaster in Japan on the auto industry, not just there, but everywhere in the world. Right, Mike?
Absolutely. You know, a small electronic part that measures airflow through car engines has become a big worry for the auto industry in the wake of Japan's earthquake and tsunami. 2/3 of the industry's airflow sensors are made by one company, Hitachi, and that company produces them at a plant north of Tokyo. And guess what? That factory has been damaged by the quake and remains shut. Meanwhile, the disaster has forced auto and other parts plants throughout Japan to be closed. GM, Toyota, and BHL have cut or are making plans to curb output of thousands of vehicles in the U.S. and Europe due to concerns about a shortage of critical parts made in Japan.
And finally, on the Wall Street Journal report this morning, Mike, you put the spotlight on these ever increasingly popular online coupon sites. Some interesting trends and some issues there.
Yeah, coupon companies, the most popular being Groupon, really can deliver some great deals to consumers. The retailers offer such buyers not making much money, but they would only absorb about as much as 75% of the deal's cost and often saw little in the way of repeat sales. Well, that's changing now. Merchants are getting smart. They're carefully negotiating better revenue splits and tweaking their offerings to make deals work in their favor. That, in turn, could tighten profit margins in what has been a fast-growing online
Absolutely fascinating as always. Best newspaper in America. It is the Wall Street Journal. Everybody knows it, and that's one reason why our Wall Street Journal report segment does so well on Bud Hedinger Live, and why we expanded it to 5 days a week, and why the Wall Street Journal is a great partner with us here at 540 WFLA, all across the dial here. And every morning, just after the 6:30 news, we talk about what's hot in the Journal with the editor of the Wall Street Journal Radio Network, our friend Mike Salvatorelli. The online edition, check it out, WSJ.com. Thanks, and we'll look for your Friday report in the morning, all right? Thank you, Mike. You're terrific. Good guy, too. Yeah, just one of the really good guys to deal with in this business. Now, before I get to Joe Biden making the case for the impeachment of his own president, in something you absolutely have to hear, I've got to put a button on a couple of things about my comments on the situation in Libya, and they are this. Do you know who is supporting the rebels now? Aggressively supporting the rebels, and this is absolutely scary. And this talks about this speaks to the murky end game. Al-Qaeda. Al-Qaeda. Now, Gaddafi has said Al-Qaeda is stirring all of this up with the rebels. But I don't think Al-Qaeda is particularly connected to these rebels. But Al-Qaeda is rooting for the rebels. Why are they rooting for the rebels? Because when there's a power vacuum, if the rebels can take out Gaddafi, guess who wants to fill it? Can you imagine Al-Qaeda committed to setting up its version of the Islamic Republic of Iran right there in Libya? So there's something you need to know. And by the way, and we need to talk more about this, and I will when time permits, Fox News is reporting that in the middle of all of this run-up to the situation in Libya, the Obama administration has increased its foreign aid to the nation of Libya. It is bizarro world up there. Now, speaking of bizarro world, I want you to listen to this, and then I want you to call me because we need to talk about this. This is Joe Biden, Barack Obama's vice president, making the case for the president's failure to consult Congress in the run-up to the kinetic military action against Libya, that it's an impeachable offense. Joe, please explain.
The president has no constitutional authority to take this nation to war against a country of 70 million people unless we're attacked or unless there is proof that we are about to be attacked. And if he does, I would move to impeach him.
That's it. That's Vice President Joe Biden. Did you hear that? The president has no constitutional authority to just do this kind of thing on his own. Otherwise, it's an impeachable offense. And Joe Biden would move for impeachment. He said it. Now, isn't this interesting? So just suppose we wound up in a scenario where there was an impeachment of Barack Obama over all of this related to Libya. And the House votes impeachment. The trial takes place in the United States Senate under the constitutional structure of impeachment. The trial occurs in the United States Senate. Who would preside over the United States Senate? The person who is the president of the United States Senate under the United States Constitution. That happens to be the vice president. More on what you just heard and your reaction to it, and a few more things you need to know as we continue. Good Thursday morning, 407-916-5400. Toll free, 1-866-916-5400. 642 on BHL. Real-time traffic and weather together on the twos now.
From From the David Moss Volkswagen Lee Road Traffic Center, continue to see a good ride so far this morning in both directions of I-4. Biggest problem spot is northbound along the Greenway. Northbound lanes remain blocked from an earlier crash just north of University Boulevard. You can use Dean Road or Goldenrod instead. If you are going to the Arnold Palmer Invitational presented by MasterCard, follow the signs to Universal Studios for free parking and free shuttles. They'll be running nonstop all day. From the Traffic Center, I'm Courtney Bright.
From 540 WFLA, Orlando's 24-hour weather channel, we're off to a great start this morning. We'll see plenty of sunshine. It's going to be breezy and hot. We could actually be close to a record. The high today in the upper 80s, sunny 86 on Friday. Weather updated around the clock on 540 WFLA. I'm David Maddox at the Weather Channel.
Good morning, I'm Michelle Morello. Coming up in your 7 o'clock news, firefighters worked into the night battling a blaze near homes in New Smyrna, a major explosive fire at Miami International Airport, and Governor Scott gearing up to sign merit pay legislation.
Hey, you know, you worked real hard all your life to save and accumulate your money, and now you want to be able to enjoy it in retirement, and you want to make sure that it is all going to be secure and that you can continue to get income from all of your investments. It can get complicated structuring your retirement, and that's why you need the expertise and the integrity behind you, represented by my friends Jack Nelson and Joel Garris of the one and only Nelson Investment Planning Services, where they never do anything with your money they haven't already done with their own money, and where they've been helping folks secure their financial futures and enjoy their retirements for well over a quarter of a century. They'll give you professional advice as they get to know you and your situation personally. They're wonderful to do business with, and believe me, you need some structure to your retirement to make this whole thing fit together and make your retirement all it needs to be. Call now for a free consultation on how to get income from your money in retirement. Nelson Investment Planning Services. It's free. 407-629-6477. 407-629-NIPS.
Traffic reports on air online brought to you by AskTheSeal.com.
Many companies who claim to background check employees do not. AskTheSeal.com performs criminal and sex offender checks on the actual employees interacting with your family or property. Find a company with the seal of approval on AskTheSeal.com. It's free.
Does your keychain say you're hardworking and dependable? It will when you add the keys to a Chevy Silverado All-Star Edition. And if you add them during Chevy Truck Month, they'll also say you're smart, because you'll get a trailering package, heavy-duty automatic locking rear differential, and a great deal.
Find your magic at Macy's Hot List sale. Suits for her, 50% off. Casual separates for her, 25 to 40% off. Men's polos, tees, shorts, and more, $14.99 to $49.99. Playwear and more for babies, 40% off. And find 20 to 50% home sale savings. Save an extra 15 or 10% with your Macy's Star Rewards card or savings pass. Plus, get free shipping at Macy's.com on any $99 purchase. Savings off regular and sale prices, exclusions apply.
Now Mini has 4 Motortastic incentives: 0.9% APR financing, or a $199 per month lease, or upgraded no-cost maintenance for 6 years or 100,000 miles, or a hug. 0.9% financing is good because it's low. The $199 per month lease is great because it's affordable. The no-cost maintenance upgrade is tempting because it's worry-free. The hug is just awkward.
Lease on Cooper hardtop only. APR on select models. Maintenance upgrade available on Mini Financial Services standard rate finance contract. All offers exclude Countryman. Learn more at miniusa.com/info.
Hey, boss, have you seen that TV commercial with the National Alarm Company? You know, the one where the home gets broken into with the mom and daughter at home?
Oh, yeah, that guy's a creep.
Yeah. Hey, but did you notice that instead of calling the police, the alarm company calls the lady instead?
Oh, yeah. Her and her daughter could have been killed while she was talking to the operator.
Yeah, I know. Now, if they had Safe Touch, the two-way communicator would have let the operator hear what was going on, and they'd have called the police right away.
You know, I was in a fine mood until you mentioned Safe Touch.
Yeah, well, you're not going to like this, boss. The latest edition of the Crooks R Us newsletter said the average response time for Safe Touch monitoring is 14 seconds.
14? Oh, I hate Safe Touch.
That's right, our Safe Touch two-way communicator saves lives and prevents property loss every day. Hi, I'm Lester Jackson, owner of Safe Touch Security Systems. No one, and I mean no one, protects your family better than Safe Touch. So call Safe Touch today. Systems and monitoring are still less than $1 a day.
Call 407-331-0335 or go to safetouch.com. State license number EF233.
Dave Ramsey here. If you're looking for an awesome real estate agent to buy or sell a home, my team and I can help. To find the real estate agent I recommend in your city, go to DaveRamsey.com and click Endorsed Local Provider. That's DaveRamsey.com and click Endorsed Local Provider.
Are you being audited? Have you not filed tax returns for years? Is the IRS coming to your home or place of business? The IRS will relentlessly pursue you for unpaid taxes. I'm Patrick Cox, founder of TaxMasters. Whatever your tax-related problem, the former IRS agents and tax professionals at TaxMasters can help. Some might want you to believe that there's a new, friendlier IRS. This is not the case. You need TaxMasters on your side. TaxMasters will get between you and the IRS. We'll make sure they treat you fairly and treat you with respect. Listen, don't take on the IRS by yourself. Our former IRS agents and tax professionals have helped many good people just like you. Don't wait weeks for an appointment. Call TaxMasters right now to get started. Call 1-800-307-4310. That's 1-800-307-4310. Or go to txmstr.com. Again, that's txmstr.com. TaxMasters will solve your tax problems.
Have you been wondering if your testosterone is low? Covance needs relatively healthy, overweight men age 55 and older to participate in a clinical research study of an investigational medication for low testosterone. 3 one-night stays and 3 outpatient visits required. Participants will receive testosterone results and all study-related exams at no cost, and compensation up to $2,400 for time and participation. Once again, overweight men age 55 and older may qualify. Call 877-851-1061 or visit testwiththebest.com. That's 877-851-1061 or testwiththebest.com. To all participants, past, present, and future, Covance would just like to say thank you.
This portion of 540 WFLA is brought to you by MetaFastFlorida.com.
Hey, I hope you've been out to the one and only Lucas Nursery. If not, you are missing more than just a place to buy flowers. You are missing a Central Florida tradition and a Central Florida attraction. Acre after acre of everything that grows more magnificently than Lynn and I have ever seen it grow anywhere else. Same family, Phil, Sarah, and the rest of the staff there. They've all been working this land forever, and boy, do they know their plants. It's the place to go for all your spring planting, and check out the amazing garden accessories, the best pottery collection you'll see in this part of the country, and the amazing indoor butterfly encounter for the whole family. Only at Lucas Nursery. Check them out. Off the 417 Redbug exit, corner of Slavia and Aloma. Worth the drive from anywhere. Online, LUKASnursery.com.
It takes a special kind of person to call Bud Hettinger.
It's the optimism keeps him out of the nut house.
407-916-5400. Toll free, 866-916-5400.
The president has no constitutional authority to take this nation to war against a country of 70 million people unless we're attacked or unless there is proof that we are about to be attacked. And if he does, I would move to impeach him.
That's Joe Biden, Obama's vice president. Biden was in town yesterday, but he didn't say that yesterday. And when he said it, he wasn't talking about Libya and Barack Obama. He was talking to Chris Matthews on Hardball at a time when he thought he was going to be a legitimate presidential contender for the 2008 Democrat nomination. It turned out he didn't draw flies. But at any rate, at that point in time, there was talk that George W. Bush was about to bomb Iran. And that's where that quote by Biden comes from. But the parallels are absolutely rock solid and dramatic, are they not? He makes the case that without a president going to Congress, initiating military action is an impeachable offense. And that he, at the time, when he's talking about Bush and Iran, would absolutely lead an effort in the Senate to not only get him tried, but convicted and impeached and thrown out of office. What do you think of that? Is what President Obama has done and the end run around Congress an impeachable offense? Well, it works for Joe Biden. 407-916-5400, 652, real-time traffic and weather together, updated now as we step aside for just 60 seconds.
From the David Moss Volkswagen Lee Road Traffic Center, continue to see a good ride so far this morning in both directions of I-4. Biggest problem spot is northbound along the Greenway. Northbound lanes remain blocked from an earlier crash just north of University Boulevard. You can use Dean Road or Goldenrod instead. If you are going to the Arnold Palmer Invitational presented by MasterCard, follow the signs to Universal Studios for free parking and free shuttles. They'll be running nonstop all day. From the Traffic Center, I'm Courtney Bright.
Courtney, thanks. Partly sunny and real warm today. We'll get up to 88, and we're off to a good start. It is already 65 at 6:53 in the morning. Now, and I've been through this with you before. That's what Biden said was an impeachable offense, a president initiating military action without consulting Congress. That's what he said. So what's he going to do now? What are you going to do right now? Lead a move to impeach your own president, sir? Joe? Yeah, right. But when Senator Barack Obama was on the campaign trail in 2007, in an interview with the Boston Globe in December of 2007, he was asked under what circumstances the president would have the constitutional authority to bomb Iran without first seeking authorization from Congress. And he says the president does not have the power under the Constitution to unilaterally authorize a military attack. That doesn't mean going in unilaterally. It means I make the decision that we're going in a situation that does not involve stopping an actual or imminent threat to the nation. So here, correct me if I'm wrong, am I missing something here? Am I perhaps being unfair or unclear? Do we or do we not have both the sitting president and the sitting vice president on record as saying exactly the way Barack Obama has behaved now vis-a-vis Libya and Congress amounts to an impeachable offense? Is that not what we have here? And if you don't think it's what we have here, please help me understand where I've missed the boat. This is incredible. This is incredible. This is not me saying this is an impeachable offense. This is Obama and Biden saying this is an impeachable offense. Because at the time they were talking about Bush, if he bombs Iran without consulting with Congress, it's unconstitutional and grounds for impeachment. Is there anything in how the last week has unfolded with Libya that differs in any significant way from what they were relating to in 2007 with Iran and George W. Bush? Is that all just campaign rhetoric, all campaign talk? And if so, do you excuse such a thing, that you play with the concept of throwing a president out of office through impeachment for your own political benefit on the campaign trail, but you don't believe it for a minute? And by God, when it comes up and you happen to have the reins of power, well, that's a whole different story. I fail to see anything here that is significantly different. You have a president who did what, at the time, George W. Bush was talking about doing, but never did, and that's initiate military action, bombing another country. And George W. Bush, he never did it. It never actually came to fruition as an issue. Whether he would have consulted with Congress, I have absolutely no idea. But it's very clear that Barack Obama did not consult with Congress. Oh, he consulted with the Arab League. He consulted with NATO. He consulted with France and the Brits and anybody else he could get to try to carry the load here. But he did not consult with Congress. It's abundantly clear. He did not consult with Congress. Jen, that is such a good cut from Biden. I want to hear it one more time. Can we?
The president has no constitutional authority to take this nation to war against a country of 70 million people unless we're attacked or unless there is proof that we are about to be attacked. And if he does, I would move to impeach him.
That's Joe Biden in 2007. What do you say now, Joe? You've heard from Barack Obama in 2007. What do you say now, Mr. President? Be interesting to see. Now, we had Kucinich, who's just a complete left-wing nutcase who's always way out there. I told you there was thunder from the left against Barack Obama on all of this with Libya. He has called for impeachment. I haven't heard anybody on the right calling for impeachment. It just seems to me that across party lines, that in Congress, unless they're completely asleep at the switch and a case could be made, that across party lines there ought to be people glomming on to those quotes from Barack Obama in 2007 and to that videotape from the Hardball show with Chris Matthews where Joe Biden heard what I have now shared with you here this morning. Incredible. Why am I not hearing that? Why is the mainstream media not all over this? Oh, because they like this guy, and they want to further his agenda. He's liberal, they're largely liberal, collectively. We didn't like George W. Bush. He was too tough, too in-your-face, too much about American exceptionalism, and too much about a willingness to sow the seeds of democracy in the godforsaken Middle East with the projection of American might where needed. And they didn't like that. So they were all over it then. Where are they now? Here's something for you to chew on the way to work and for the rest of the day. I will post the entire Biden video for you on the Buds blog section at 540WFLA.com. Rick Scott has issued an executive order mandating random drug testing for all state employees. I'll give you my take on that. I actually like it, but I don't think it's going to hold up under the Constitution. And that's where we begin hour number 2. Stay with us right after Michelle Murillo updates the news. It is 7 o'clock.
WFLF Pine Hills, Orlando. WTKS FM HD2 Cocoa Beach. Your home for Rush Limbaugh.
540 WFLA. 540 WFLA. Local news from the Fox Orlando News Center.
Trailer and 2 cars were destroyed. Fire crews are on the scene this morning making sure the
From the David Moss Volkswagen Lee Road Traffic Center, no problems at the time in either direction of I-4, although northbound lanes along the Greenway still shut down from a much earlier accident. This is north of University Boulevard. You can use Dean Road or Goldenrod instead. 408 and 528 moving along well. If you're going to the Arnold Palmer Invitational presented by MasterCard, follow the signs to Universal Studios for free parking and free shuttles. They'll be running nonstop all day. From the Traffic Center, I'm Courtney Bright.
Look at that beautiful lagoon pool.
How about the children's pool and water slide?
Look at the parents relaxing.
The kids playing and laughing.
A family vacation where dreams do come true.
At timesharesbyoowner.com.
Overtime questions? Visit forthepeople.com. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.
From 540 WFLA, Orlando's 24-hour weather channel, we're off to a great start this morning. We'll see plenty of sunshine. It's going to be breezy and hot. We could actually be close to a record. The high today in the upper 80s, sunny 86 on Friday. Weather updated around the clock on 540 WFLA. I'm David Maddox at the Weather Channel.
Score with 540 WFLA Sports.
The UCF Knights didn't get into Omaha, Nebraska until 2:30 local time yesterday. They had a big game to play 5 hours later against Creighton in the CBI semifinals, but the Knights were never in last night's game, trailing 15-2 early in an 82-64 loss that ended their season.
They were more aggressive. They played with a little different edge and a purpose than we did early on, and we tried to fight back, but we just weren't able to knock shots down when we did have good shots.
UCF coach Donnie Jones, who was 21-12 in his first season, and the future is bright for the UCF program. Tonight, Jones' former team, the Florida Gators, will have a huge challenge in New Orleans. Can they stop Jimmer Fredette, BYU's prolific scorer, who's averaging 33 points in the NCAA tournament? You can hear tonight's Florida BYU Southeast Regional semifinal game here on 540 WFLA beginning at 6:45. The Orlando Magic got 33 points from Dwight Howard and 12 three-pointers in a 111-99 win over the New York Knicks. The Magic have now reeled off 4 straight wins. Tiger Woods will tee off after lunch today in the first round of the Arnold Palmer Invitational. Woods didn't play in last year's tournament at Bay Hill in the aftermath of his infidelity issues. That's your sports update. I'm Tom Morgan on your home of the Gators, 540 WFLA.
BHL. Wake up and stand up for what's right. 540 WFLA presents the 50,000-watt front porch. And another hour of Bud Henniger Live.
Rick Scott's bold, if nothing else. He has signed an executive order requiring random drug testing of a whole lot of current state employees, as well as drug testing for applicants for state jobs. What the governor said, Floridians deserve to know that those in public service whose salaries are paid with taxpayer dollars are part of a drug-free workplace. And I absolutely agree with that. I've got to tell you right now, ultimately, and we have some fine state workers. We have some dead wood, just like we have in private industry. We've been down that road here before. I'm not anti-government worker, not anti-public sector. I just want a level playing field here. But I've got to tell you,